Welcome to Speak for Yourself. Marcellus Wiley here. A little cleaner desk than normal, but we'll get our notes in a second. We got Emmanuel Acho. You like this one? No, I love that one.
Thank you. It's honestly, I'm honored you can pay me a compliment.
Yeah, really?
Few and far between.
Really? I need to step it up? All right, we're going to hang once the quarantine's over in 2023. All right, let's get it started right now with the Bucs, who were actually in a close game against the Giants last night. Tom Brady threw 2 touchdown passes, and the Bucs were up by 8 in the final minute. After a Daniel Jones touchdown pass, New York had a chance to tie it up with a 2-point conversion. Bucs rookie safety Antoine Winfield Jr., I played with his daddy, love that dude, was flagged for a penalty in the end zone, but the refs got together and picked up the flag. What? The Bucs went on to win their 3rd straight game and are now 6-2. So, Acho, are you worried that we don't have any notes? Or about Brady's Bucs after they escaped with a win?
See, Marcellus, when you prepare as hard as I do for the show, sometimes you don't need notes.
Oh, you go hard.
Sometimes you can just go off top of your head and off top of your heart because I be preparing like
yes,
I do.
You do.
I'm worried about the Buccaneers. And I'm worried about the Bucs, Marcellus, because I think about the company that they're keeping. The Giants, I think, are a decent football team. The Giants, the Eagles beat by 1 point. The Cowboys beat by 3 points, and the Buccaneers, you beat that same Giants team by only 2 points. I just, at first, I'm a little bit worried because I look at the company you keep. Where did the Buccaneers fall? But that's lazy. So why am I truly worried about this team? Because I thought AB was a luxury. It appears AB is a necessity.
Oh.
And that's vastly different.
Oh, now you're listening.
I thought Antonio Brown was a luxury for this Buccaneers team.
Okay.
Oh, it's just another riches. The rich get richer. Let's add to the plethora of talent they already have. But then I said, wait a second. I watched the game yesterday, and I said, they might need AB. Leading receiver, Mike Evans, 55 yards, if I'm not mistaken. Scotty Miller, he was held in check. He's typically the team's leading receiver. He's held in check. Gronk, what did he give you? 4 catches? When I looked at the team, I said, they might not have the talent that always fires. That we thought they had. But here's the real thing, and you'll get this because you played ball. The NFL's a copycat league. What did Joe Judge say before the game? He said, don't beat Tom Brady. Beat everybody else.
I like that.
He said, don't beat Tom Brady.
Culture.
He said, we can't just beat Tom Brady. He's a Hall of Famer. Greatest to ever do it. So beat everybody else. And the Giants did that. When you look at the fact of Ronald Jones, he fumbled, so they sent him to the bench. Leonard Fournette, they held him in check. Miller, Gronk, Evans, all held in check. They beat everybody else. Now, if you play a better team, not the Giants, probably one of the 5 worst teams in football, that's a game that the Buccaneers would have lost. So I'm a little bit concerned when I watch that game because in the event teams can duplicate what the Giants did, don't beat Tom Brady but beat everybody else, then it appears that might be the way to beat the Buccaneers.
Oh, man. Interesting take there. I don't want to go that deep into the weeds because even Super Bowl champions have questionable losses on the year. And we don't know what the Buccaneers are going to be. Who's to say that they're going to be the Super Bowl champions or not? But the point is we know that they're a contender. But even if you win it all, you have questionable losses. Look at the Chiefs last year when they lost to the Colts. Remember the Colts? Oh, that team that made the playoffs? Oh, they didn't. But the Chiefs lost to that same team by 6 points. Let's go the year prior when we could see the Patriots who lose to the Jacksonville Jaguars. Remember them? They were 5-11, lost by 11 points. How about the Detroit Lions? They've been in the playoffs lately. Oh, they lost by 16 points and still won the championship in that same year. So I don't go there. Where I go to is just a simple explanation. You know what it is. Play down to your competition. Hey, Coach, I'm sorry. Couldn't rev the engine today. You know what? You just said all I had to do was go around the corner, go to 7-Eleven, get some Doritos, and come back. I didn't get in 6th gear for that. And you playing the Giants, I don't care what you tell yourself psychologically. It is nearly impossible for you to go out there and believe what you're telling yourself and what you're selling. So in that situation, sometimes you get punched in the mouth. And we all know that feeling. Some of us need that feeling to even wake up to play. I hate it when we had to go out there and play defense first. I loved it when I saw the offense go out there just so I could see the terrain, just so I could see the speed of the game, even though I had seen it countless times. There's something about just going out there and getting punched in the mouth initially. Sometimes you need that as a wake-up call. And in this situation, I think they needed a collective wake-up call. But let's not exaggerate it. Tom Brady went out there and played a clean game, 106 quarterback rating. Just to give you a little perspective, he is the GOAT with a career 97 quarterback rating. So for Tom Brady, good game. Tom Brady this year, good season. His touchdown percentage is 3rd in his career. You know the number 1 and number 2 are? MVP seasons for that same Tom Brady. So I can't exaggerate a close win when I've seen this team also have a close loss, and finally they find themselves on the right side of it.
Great teams find a way to win. So kudos to the Buccaneers. Like, they won the football game.
It's not the Chicago game where they lost that close.
Correct. You're exactly right. They won a football game.
And
so fans that are sitting here watching, oh, well, they barely beat the Giants, understand a worse team, let's call it the Packers, who lost to the Vikings, even when they don't play great, a good team finds a way to win. That's what the Buccaneers did. They are a good team. They still found a way to win. What I'm saying is, what can we learn from that game, which we might not have realized beforehand? Yesterday, Sal, you got mad at me in the A block, the start of the show. You got mad at me,
I don't fight, but I get mad.
You do. You get upset because I was using card references. You said, Acho, that's lazy. Acho, you're getting paid to come on this show. Stop talking about cards. Do better. Break some things down. So, you know, this morning, I dug into the weeds of things. I said, why else would I be concerned about the Buccaneers? I was listening to the broadcast, the game last night, and you talk about the Buccaneers defense. Amazing defense, coached by Todd Bowles, phenomenal defensive coordinator. Secondary, they're hungry. They're fast, but they're young. And I said, wait a second. Youth in the secondary, because the secondary outside of linebackers usually calls the defense, that can be problematic. I started thinking, Marcellus, all the Super Bowl champions in the 2010s, they had a veteran safety, an older safety, a wily old vet. Look at this right here, the full screen.
Yeah, you got to
look at the past Super Bowl. Ty Matthew, Devin McCourty, Malcolm Jenkins, McCourty again, T.J. Ward, Devin McCourty again, Earl Thomas, Ed Reed, Andre Rolle, Nico Collins, Charles Woodson was also on that Packers team. Digest that just for 1 second. All of the Super Bowl winning teams had multiple Pro Bowl, multiple All-Pro safeties. The least accomplished player on that list is T.J. Ward, 2-time All-Pro, I believe 3-time Pro Bowler. That's the least accomplished player. When I look at the Bucs roster, Antoine Winfield Jr. is a dog.
My dog.
He's a dog.
And his daddy was too.
He was a baller in Minnesota last year. I was watching him in college. But he's 22 years old. Why does that matter? Because the last play of the game, when Daniel Jones misses in that questionable PI call, Antoine Winfield Jr., when he's a vet, when he's a little bit older, maybe even later on in the season, he's going to realize exactly what's happening. He's going to beat that to the spot and pick that off. A better quarterback than Daniel Jones completes that two-point conversion. That game's going into overtime. So if you want me to dive into the weeds and do my homework and not just come up here and talk about cards, my other reason, Marcellus, big bro, that I'm concerned about the Bucs is because when I look at Super Bowl caliber defenses have Super Bowl leaders in their secondary. They have veterans in their secondary. All these Bucs players are dogs. They're going to be beasts, go on to long, great careers. But my question is, are they right now when the moment calls?
Interesting. Good forecast and prediction. Who knows how it turns out? Look, a young Tom Brady, who's on that team, can also talk about being a young player, first time as a full-time starter, winning a Super Bowl. Maybe he can look at that defense and say, hey, these lights are not that bright. It's actually the same voltage as any other lights that you play in any other game, so let's not magnify the moments. Maybe Tom Brady being on that roster can help a young 22-year-old understand what that moment means. But if I want to do what you did, which is not listen to the broadcast again. Damn, I ain't mean to go that far away from it. Look, you can play cards in the morning if you want to, but you wouldn't listen to the broadcast again. I didn't have to do that. I watched the game last night in real time and realized, oh, my God, they are getting beat up front. Like, you're not supposed to be able to pound the Buccaneers' defense, especially in run defense, the way that was happening. Now, I've been a run defender before, and I think in my entire career, I held on to being a good run defender longer than I held on to being a good pass rusher. And in the NFL, if you don't get sacks as a defensive end and they think you have athleticism, you got to go.
Gotta go.
But I was still playing the run very well, but they were like, that's not what we pay you the big bucks for. But with that said, I realized it was easier to play the run because all I needed was leverage and effort. Like, that was 90% of my understanding of playing that position in that way. It was just give effort and make sure I keep my leverage. Everything else was just discipline and schematics. But when you talk about this situation, did they give the effort? Were they motivated to give the effort? If I want to dive into it, the only thing I saw was the fact that they got beat up front. Look, you're not going to get Vita Vea back this year. He's gone. So that's obviously a big void for them. But other than that, I can't look at anything else. This is the same team that lost to the Saints in week 1, right? And you talk about, oh, look around, and they suppressed some people. The Giants were able to cover up their key pieces. Don't forget that this Bucs team were able to cover up the Saints' key pieces in a losing effort. Did Breeze have over 200 yards? Nope. Did Kamara ball? Nope. Did Michael Thomas ball? Nope. Did Sanders ball? No. And they lost that game. So I like them being on the right side of a win.
Here's how I look at it, bro. Defenses, offenses, defensive coordinators, offensive coordinators, they smell blood in the water in the National Football League. Very simply put, if you show any sign of weakness in 1 week, the next week they are coming to exploit it. Point blank period at every level in football, but primarily in the NFL football. If you show, you can't stop the run, the next week, you're going to see that exact same run.
True.
If you show you can't stop the play action pass, the next week, they're going to play action pass you to death. What did we see yesterday? The Giants and their defensive coordinator, Patrick Graham, who, mind you, came from New England, came from being a defensive line coach and a linebacker coach, they showed everybody the blueprint. So they said, here's a blueprint of how to beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now, they still didn't execute it. They still didn't execute it. They came up short. But they said, boom, here's the blueprint. What did they do? They held the Bucs to their second worst yards per play all season. Second worst rush yards in the game all season. Second worst third down percentage all season. Here's the blueprint. Don't beat Tom Brady. You're not going to trick him. You're not going to confuse him. Go out there and beat everybody else. That is why if other defensive coordinators smell blood in the water, they might be able to go in for the kill against the Bucs in the future. That's the only cause.
You can smell blood all you want. Are you a shark, though? Like, I mean, think about it. Do you have the personnel to go execute that? You know what's funny? I played with Doug Flutie, and one of the things that made me respect Bill Belichick before he even became a head coach was the fact that he was the one that figured out Doug Flutie as much as figuring out means. Basically, Doug Flutie was running around, doing what he had to do, improvising, darting people. It was just killer. It was Flutie mania. Like, it took over the NFL. Flutie Flakes. They sold cereal after Doug Flutie because people were like, what is this? He was exiled to go to Canada. We've been missing this our entire lives. And he hit the ground running. And then we had to play the Jets. We had to play Bill Belichick. And Bill Belichick took a look and said, Doug Flutie, a little shorter than the average quarterback. You know what I'm going to do? We'll blitz the edges, keep him between the tackles, keep him in the pocket. Let's see if he can see over that offensive line. And just keep coming that way, and let's see how it goes. Now, Doug Flutie had some success, but it was different. The blueprint was out there. But do you know that other teams saw that and tried to run that and couldn't execute that same thing? So schematics is one thing. That's on paper. But making that happen on the field, completely different conversation. Coming up at the top of the hour, the Packers just lost to a last-place team. Yuck. We'll tell you if Aaron Rodgers' squad are contenders or pretenders. But first, Patriots are losing, and Bill Belichick is blaming the salary cap. What the hell? We'll tell you if he's just making excuses. Next, speak for yourselves. Looking for them, though.
Welcome back to Speak for Yourself.
Okay.
The Patriots, they are in very unfamiliar territory. They're 2-5 and on a 4-game losing streak. Before their latest loss, Bill Belichick said the team was playing more young players because of salary cap issues. Well, yesterday, Belichick tried to clarify his comments. Y'all take a listen.
I mean, look, we paid Cam Newton $1 million. I mean, it's obvious we didn't have any money. You know, it's nobody's fault. That's what we did the last 5 years. We sold out and won 3 Super Bowls, played in the 4th, and played in an AFC Championship game. This year we had less to work with. It's not an excuse. It's just a fact.
Sounds like an excuse to me.
Oh, really? We going
but
there?
Marcellus,
Okay.
Before I go there, let me figure out where you gonna go.
Okay.
Is Bill Belichick making excuses for the Patriots' struggle?
No, he's not making excuses. It's amazing that someone even in the sports world, let alone the football world, has the audacity to even question Bill Belichick and his greatness and his success. Like to question his responses to how he created a dynasty. Who is qualified to even do that? I know I'm not. And I'm looking at you, and it's like I'm looking in the mirror because I know you're not because I'm not. So no one is. I don't give a damn who is. But let's just entertain folks by going down this path since no one qualifies really to go down this path. You know that reasons are just simply explaining actions. Like it's just a reason. I'm going to explain what happened. And an excuse is more of that explanation, but you're explaining the outcome really to remove yourself from the blame. Belichick is not giving himself an excuse. He's telling you the reasons. He's like, look, I sold out. And I sold out because I had to win it. And I won it better than anyone else has ever won it, at more of a clip than anyone else has ever done it. So in him explaining how he sold out, now people are going to be taking issue with that. Oh, you didn't take issue when I was winning Super Bowl after Super Bowl, but now you're looking at me off to a slow start post-dynasty, and now you're like, why did you do that? Do what? sell out, the same thing that we're hearing Aaron Rodgers wishes the Green Bay Packers would do and sell out because my window is open, or the same thing that the Kansas City Chiefs are doing and selling out and making sure they lock down everybody and going all in for the present. Sometimes, dog, you got to rob the future to pay the present. And in some situations, you might rob the present to pay the future.
I'm not a criminal. I don't rob. Not a criminal.
I ain't crazy enough, me either. I've been close. But here's the point. I don't understand where we're going with this. When we ask the man a question, he gives you an answer, the most qualified to give that same answer, and people want to tear it apart. But I'll give you the opportunity to do the
Big bro, it's very, very simple. Just because Bill Belichick has done wrong doesn't mean it's an indictment on his past successes.
Wrong is the word? You're choosing wrong?
Sir, mutually exclusive. You know what that definition means because you went to Harvard. But for those who don't know...
damn Harvard.
Because you went to Columbia, excuse me, sorry.
Oh, yeah. Ain't that smart.
But to those who don't know what mutually exclusive means, it's just describing an event that cannot occur or happen simultaneously. Two or more events that can't occur or happen simultaneously.
I like.
Bill Belichick, Marcellus, can be telling a fact, but also be making an excuse. Those two things are not mutually exclusive. What he is saying is a fact. Our salary cap, we got issues.
We got some issues.
Got issues. I respect that. That's a fact.
You do?
But it's also an excuse.
Oh,
Bill Belichick, Marcellus, where did he go wrong? It is very, very, very simple, and I'm surprised that he made this excuse. Bill Belichick got caught being a terrible GM. His incredible head coaching, he got caught being a terrible GM. Marcellus, again, you called me out yesterday on my preparation, so I took a deep dive.
Man, you must have had a bad day yesterday.
I'm coming with facts today. Let me think about this, and I'm going to have a full screen for you, but you can digest it as I talk. Bill Belichick, he drafted Matt Castle. Matt Castle as a starter went 10-5. Bill Belichick, he drafted Jimmy Garoppolo. Jimmy Garoppolo as a starter, he went 2-0. Bill Belichick, he drafted Jacoby Brissett. Jacoby Brissett as a starter, it says there that he went 1-1. Remember, Bill Belichick has drafted quarterbacks and won with quarterbacks. So what did he do? He drafted Jarrett Stidham. He said, 2005, I drafted Matt Castle, we still won. I drafted Jimmy Garoppolo, we still won. I drafted Jacoby Brissett, we still won. I'm going to draft Jarrett Stidham, we're going to be A-OK. He got caught red-handed in a poor decision because before the season, he realized, crap, Jarrett Stidham is not who I thought he was. And so now Bill Belichick is going to act as though, because of all these Super Bowls we've won in the past, our roster's terribly constructed now. It's not. If Jarrett Stidham was who Bill Belichick thought he was, a capable, serviceable stopgap, like Matt Castle, who went on to start other places, like Jimmy Garoppolo, who went on to start other places, like Jacoby Brissett, who went on to start other places. If Bill Belichick, the GM, wouldn't have made such a glaring error with Jarrett Stidham, they wouldn't be in this position. Don't talk to me about salary cap, because you got that money back when all those players opted out. Don't talk to me about your other issues. Talk to me about the fact that you missed as a general manager. It's not an indictment on all your success as a head coach. You just missed.
Well, hold on. They don't get all the money back because there's a thing called the dead cap and the dead money. So
that's from Gostkowski, that's from Brady, and that's from AB.
Yeah.
But that's not Dante Hightower opting out. You get that back.
You get that back. Yeah. I'm not trying to correct you. I'm trying to add to
what I liked,
brother. Which was a good take. Here's the thing about your take that's interesting. Let me give you a little more fuel to that. Because
please.
Those bad drafts that we were overlooking because of the team success, they did catch up to him. Now, is that him being a bad GM as much as every GM out there misses on some of these draft picks? I don't know about that because the ultimate answer is the team success. So the team was still successful. This is what happened to Bill Belichick. And this is another reason, not excuse. They were betting on Tom Brady staying. They were banking on Tom Brady staying. They thought that they could sing that same song to Tom Brady. Oh, we gonna get you some weapons. And it was gonna work. Finally, Tom Brady in the middle of the dance floor, stopped dancing. He was like, enough. Took his opportunity, took his game, took his leadership out of town. And they got caught with their pants down in that situation. That's what happened. And so now Belichick doesn't want to blame it on a player because he's never blamed it on players. But Belichick knows that if Tom Brady were still here, things would be running according to schedule. They were 12-4 last year, and Tom Brady was on decline. But you know what? He knows that Tom Brady aborted mission, and that makes him have to abort his mission. But more importantly, we paid Tom Brady, a declining, aging Tom Brady, despite winning the Super Bowl, despite winning MVP, wasn't the same Tom Brady. Belichick was counted out when he tried to cast a vote to get rid of Tom Brady. Don't forget, 2014, Jimmy Garoppolo's there. Belichick's whispering to everybody, can you let me do this? And if you let me do this, by like 2017, it's Jimmy G's team. We got to move on from Brady. Let's be a year ahead instead of a year behind. He was outvoted. Why? Because the same agent for Jimmy G is the same agent for Tom Brady, which consults with Bob Kraft. He was outvoted, so he had to run a course that he didn't want to run. And then he had to pay a guy he didn't want to pay, and then the guy he paid left on the Kobe Bryant rest in peace deal, which is paying a declining player for past services that you know that future services won't support.
Here's what I don't want us to do, though, nor do I want Patriots fans to do. I don't want to act as though the complete Patriots roster is in utter chaos and shambles. Okay. Keep in mind, Patriots, they have a top 5 rushing offense. Patriots, they're defensively, they're still pretty good. Scoring defense was 12th. Remember, a bad offense, it contributes to a bad defense. We saw that in Tampa Bay last year. And now Tampa Bay, look at their defense this year.
Yeah.
The Patriots and the Patriot way, everything is still firing. What's the problem? The problem is at quarterback. Patriots last year, they were number 1 in turnover margin. 2018, they were number 5 in turnover margin. 2017, they were 11th. 2016, they were 5th. What are they this year? 22nd. That is an exclusive problem because of the quarterback position.
Yeah.
There aren't a ton of issues with the Patriots. There really aren't.
Yeah.
There's one. And the issue is Bill Belichick is pride to a degree, not adding enough weapons if Cam Newton couldn't do it himself, but more importantly, it's missing on Stidham. Because to your point, Sel, why would Bill Belichick have to, he doesn't need to be concerned when he looks at it like this. Dang, Matt Castle, we won with you. Jimmy G, we won with you. Jacoby Brissett, we won with you. Jimmy G, Jacoby Brissett, they won 3-1. Matt Castle, he went 10-5.
Yeah.
I'm good with my backup quarterbacks.
Yeah.
4th-round picks. Ooh, Kirk Cousins was a 4th-round pick. He turned out all right for the Washington football team. Dak Prescott was a 4th-round pick. He turned out all right. He's serviceable. Jarrett Stidham, you're a 4th-round pick. You can be serviceable. Bill Belichick, call a spade a spade. It's not the salary cap. It's not the other issues. It is one position, the quarterback position. You drafted Jarrett Stidham. He wasn't who he thought he was.
But how can you say that right now? Because Belichick is sitting there and he's trying not to make excuses. So he doesn't want to say, hey, you know what? I had this guy going into his 2nd year. Sorry, we had no offseason. Sorry, I didn't see Tom Brady really leaving. And I never had an offseason to put my hands on him. At least with Matt Castle, he was able to see him through a regular season. In season, they've had COVID, and COVID has undermined them more than any other team.
Isn't that
no
an excuse?
Offseason.
Well, it has to be an excuse because Justin Herbert, touchdown record first 6 games. Joe Burrow, he leads the NFL in 300-plus yard passing games. What other rookies we got that's out here doing a thing? Like, rookies are out here balling. And so I think...
Have you ever heard anyone say that learning the playbook in any other place other than New England is like calculus? No. But in New England, and I know a lot of former players, and we heard it this year, Cam Newton got there, he said, hey, yo, I'm back in school. This is calculus. It's so complex. They have option routes on every route. Their passing tree is nothing but options and branches.
Whose fault is that? Again, I got to go back to... It is. It is because, Sal, you know this, and my coach told me this, and y'all that are coaches, y'all that are parents, y'all that are anybody that has to mentor somebody, listen to this. It's not what you know. It's what you can get them to know.
Okay.
I had some genius coaches in the NFL. The problem is they couldn't transfer their genius to the players. So the coach fully understands the complexities and all the nuances of all the defense, but they couldn't get the rest of the defense to understand it. Bill Belichick, Josh McDaniels, I don't care what y'all know. What can you get Cam Newton to know? Clearly not enough. What can you get Jarrett Stidham to know? Clearly not enough.
Hold on the ball? That's day one. Don't do this. Because there is a Patriot way. There's not a Cincinnati Bengal way. There's not an LA Charger way. Respect to my Chargers. There's none of those situations. Look, this is the cost of greatness. This is Bill Belichick saying, hey, to create a dynasty, it's not going to be built overnight. And also the instruction of it is not overnight. You're saying what Miyagi said in The Karate Kid.
What he said?
There are no bad students, just bad teachers. Okay, respect to that. Like, it's on the teacher. The onus is on you. But when I have this complex lesson plan that will result in one dynasty and hopefully resurrecting that same dynasty to new heights going forward, he needs to have his hands on someone. I understand it's a thin line between excuses and reasons. But to me, with this compromised offseason, the fact that he couldn't even get his hands on his starting quarterback, let alone his backup quarterback, quarterback. And then Brian Hoyer, who has lost 11 straight games in 4 different franchises. Like, Belichick is like, I'm going to stop short of fully making an excuse, but I'm going to just tell you, I'm undermanned right here. I don't have the cap money right here. And this has been a crazy year. Rock with me, as you would say. Track with me going forward. Talk to me going forward, and Belichick will return to his form.
I agree with a lot of what you were saying. The nucleus of the issue for me is very simple. Bill Belichick, he was giving us facts. He has salary cap issues.
Yes.
He didn't have an offseason. He had a lot of issues with the starting quarterback. Jared Stidham is only on his 2nd year. But what we have seen across the NFL, nobody had the offseason, and rookie quarterbacks are balling. So, Bill Belichick, you gave us facts, but you also gave us excuses. Coming up, Jimmy G is hurt right now, and I'll tell you why the 49ers should just go ahead and do it. Move on from that QB for good. Wow. That's next. Speak for yourself.
Are we going there? Welcome back to Speak for Yourself. Jimmy GQ had to leave Sunday's loss to the Seahawks with a high ankle sprain. Those hurt. He'll reportedly miss a minimum of 6 weeks, which has sparked questions about his future with the team. Scheduled to make $25 million in each of the next 2 seasons, but his stats haven't been on par with the money. Niners legend Steve Young had his own thoughts on Jimmy G's status, saying, quote, "This looks like a disastrous year, and I think that $25 million in a shrinking salary cap with this injury, I just don't know how Jimmy ends up being the quarterback for the 49ers next year." What? So, Acho, should the 49ers move on from Jimmy GQ?
Man, they absolutely should, Marcellus, because if you've already moved on in your head and in your heart, then you might as well move on physically. This isn't just a Jimmy G conversation. This for relationships, too. Some of y'all stuck in some of them things that you should go ahead and move on by because you're already disconnected emotionally.
Don't look at me when you talking that craziness. Now look back at me. What's up?
Let me be real with you, bro, because I always am.
Yes, you
Jimmy G is very good. I've told you this before. I think Jimmy G is a good quarterback. There aren't a ton of good quarterbacks in the NFL. He is one of them. But good is the enemy of great. If I go back to the biggest moment of Jimmy G's career, the biggest moment in recent history for San Francisco 49ers, last year's Super Bowl, I would submit, and again, I would propose, the reason that the 49ers did not win that Super Bowl is because of Jimmy G. The 49ers defense did what they were supposed to do. I'm not going to relish in the past. What? Talk about the past to the present. They did. They picked off Patrick Mahomes twice. He hadn't been picked off twice all season. They sacked him 4 times. He'd been sacked 4 times once all season.
Keep going.
They did what they were supposed to do.
Fourth quarter. No? Anybody?
They did what they were supposed to do.
Okay.
Jimmy G did not. Why do I say that? Because when I think about the fact of what is truly holding back this 49ers team, it's not the head coach. It's not the defense. There's obviously injuries this year. But if you're talking about an injury list team, it's not the defense. It's Jimmy G, and he has been. This isn't even my words. Kyle Shanahan knows this.
Oh, really?
And Kyle Shanahan is ready to move on. But here's my thing, Marcellus, because I listen to you when you speak. That is what I think makes this show so quality. We dialogue, we listen,
listeners.
we hear each other out.
Yeah.
And what I've heard when you speak is you say this: the best ability is availability. You got to be available. And so very simply put, Marcellus, I propose to you a blind resume, if we shall.
Let's do it.
We're going to look at Jimmy G on the left, and we're going to see another person on the right. And this person on the right will be revealed in due time.
Okay.
Jimmy G, 22-8, is a starter since week 13 of 2017. 30 starts out of a possible 45 games. Jimmy G has missed 33% of his games. What? The person on the right has missed 18%. Before we reveal the person on the right, let me use the adjectives you used to describe him.
Who?
Non-trustworthy.
Who?
Can't depend on him. Can't count on him. Always hurt.
Who that?
Never there in the big moments.
Who that?
So can we see who's on the right?
It must be Carson Wentz.
Carson Wentz.
It's Wentzy.
He's missed 8 games of the last 45. Jimmy G has missed 15. Jimmy G's on track, Marcellus, to not return for another 6 weeks. So Jimmy G would have missed, 21 games out of a possible 51. And yet we don't talk about his lack of availability. Hurt New England in 2016. Hurt second year in San Francisco. Hurt again this year. All I got to say is if the best ability is, in fact, availability, like Marcellus Wiley has told me, then there's a tremendous other reason and motivation to move on from Jimmy G.
You ain't leave me no room in there. You didn't save me no ribs. Oh, my God. You covered a lot of ground there. I got to give you credit. And let me add to some of the fuel that you just went out there and spat at me before I start to combat it. All right. 2 of his 3 seasons as a 49er, he has been injured. That's a problem, right? You got to talk about the availability. His cap number, goodness. Jimmy G, the money is telling them to get rid of you. 26.9 cap number next year versus 2.8 dead money. For all those who don't understand that, basically, if he stays, he's going to cost $27 million. If he leaves, it's only going to cost him $2.8 million. Woo! I don't care how fresh the purse is, my wife, how much it costs. Before we even get into the fresh conversation, we say, how much? And if I can save up $25 million, how much, Jimmy G? The incentives are to get rid of you. Now, let me support Jimmy G because a lot of attention is on Jimmy G, and we forget. Let's just look at the organization as a whole, because I don't have a blind resume. I got a resume you're going to see live and in person, and I'm going to call out their coach later. Let's talk about the organization right now. How dare you let this oxygen be within your walls talking blasphemous about the Jimmy GQ. Jimmy GQ goes to an organization that was 2-14 before he got there the year prior, right? With your guy, with my guy who recruited me at Columbia, Chip Kelly. All right, 2-14. And then what happens the next year? Do you remember how it started? Because Kyle Shanahan's in his first year. This offensive guru, offensive mind, this genius of a coach, right? You know how they started off?
Terrible.
1-10. Hello, you know what they were writing up there in the Bay? Did we do the right thing? This is not working. And then a plane lands from Foxborough. And that pretty boy, Jimmy GQ, came off that plane and said, I will play for the 49ers, and I won't lose a game. And they didn't lose another game that year. And then he gets paid. Then the injuries come. Then he signs the big deal. That incentivizes them after a couple of years to get rid of him. All I'm saying with this is, before we even get into Kyle Shanahan versus Jimmy GQ, how can you let him go? You couldn't win games without him. He literally won more games in that compromised short season, 5-0, than they had in the 2 years prior. So now you're going to blame Jimmy GQ? Hell no, big dog. We can't go there. All right, now we're joined by Fox NFL analyst Greg Jennings. Greg, should the 49ers move on from Jimmy G? Blasphemy, right?
Absolutely. Like Acho said, in their minds, they've already moved on. When you consider bringing in a Tom Brady last year, you're already moving on. You're already saying, I'm not sure if this is my guy moving forward. So check it.
Okay.
This is his 7th year in the National Football League, his 4th year with the 49ers, as Acho said, and I was going to touch this point, but I don't have to. The best ability is availability. He is not available consistently, and when he is, his attention to detail pre-snap is frustrating to watch. You become enamored with the great play. He is a good quarterback when he is good, but there are 2 unknown factors, too many inconsistencies that bring him down to earth and makes me say, this guy is just average. Because you watch him play and he makes some baffling decisions pre-snap. You're going to a 2-receiver side when you got 3 DBs over the top, when you should be reading the other side of the field. Things like that, when a player is in his 7th year and he's been tutelaged under Tom Brady and Belichick.
Talk about it.
I can't say I can just look at that and just miss myself with it. No, that jumps out of the page, and it's frustrating not only for me as a former player, but the guys who are on his team. And one last note I'll say. He doesn't even exude the swag that is on just that offensive side of the ball.
Brady got swag.
Hear me on this one.
What's swag?
When you look at George Kittle, he plays with an edge. He plays with the swag. Everything about him is like, I got it. You look at Deebo Samuel, the same type of thing. You look at Mostert and all these guys. It's like you even look at their head coach, Kyle Shanahan. He has a swag. He has an aura about him. Jimmy G has none of that. He has none of that.
I'm with you.
If you don't have anything to offer me but a bunch of inconsistencies, you know what? I believe you are what you've shown me, and that's inconsistent. Let me just wipe my hands clean of it.
What are we doing? Are we trying to get a Super Bowl winning team? Or are we trying to get a high school dressing contest? Talking about swag. What the hell does that have to do with performance? I don't even want to hear it. Talking about Kyle Shanahan has swag? Oh,
It has
really?
everything to do with performance.
Oh.
I'm going to need you to play with some level of confidence.
Oh, really? So in my first year as a full-time starter, taking a team that had won only 2 games a couple years ago and only 1 game without me, now all of a sudden I need to show you swag? How about I show you this winning? And that's what he's done for the 49ers.
Who were those teams that he won against?
What do you mean?
Okay, we're not going to address that.
What do you mean won against? What do you mean, his schedule? I'm talking about who he won with. Let me get to the point, because we have gone off on high school tangents, talking about swag and how you look and all that. It's about the meat and potatoes, how you perform. And I'm not going to let you Shanahan apologists get up here and have some revisionist history about Jimmy G and what he's done to resurrect the San Francisco 49ers. So I am going to have to give you a full screen to let you know and illustrate what I understand about Kyle Shanahan, who is 27-29 overall as a head coach. Just under 500. So he's a losing head coach. And that's with Jimmy G. Jimmy G helps Kyle Shanahan because he's 22-8 with him as his starter. But since he has so much swag, Kyle Shanahan, since Kyle Shanahan is such an offensive-minded guru, I wonder what he's like without Jimmy G. What the hell? 5-21 with any other quarterback that ain't named Jimmy GQ. Oh, take the full screen away. All you apologists, all you Shanahan lovers have not realized that Jimmy GQ has made Kyle Shanahan. You want to think that Jimmy G's grow on trees and you're going to go out there with a Nick Mullins, C.J. Beathard, Brian Hoyer, or worse, go out there in the free agency market. Go find you somebody else that you think is going to come and give you that same win percentage. Jimmy G is the one making this situation go, brother. They dressed him up properly with a great defense that let him down in the 4th quarter of the Super Bowl with a 10-point lead. How you got the number 2 defense and they give up 10 points in the 4th quarter? That's not on Jimmy G. Yeah, he could have made a couple plays. Of course that. But at the same time, if I'm up 10 in the 4th in the Super Bowl with the number 2 defense, that should be curtains. So Kyle Shanahan, you better thank Jimmy GQ, as Jimmy GQ should say, hey, I started this winning, and these are the thanks I get. Hello.
Here's the problem with that full screen, and I love that take, Marcellus. Hey, G, you had Marcellus back against the ropes, and so he just came out throwing a fury, as many punches as he could throw. Problem is,
numbers.
We bobbed and weaved all of them, Sal. Can we bring Marcellus's full screen back up, please? Can we just take a look at it? The problem with that, Marcellus, is the selection bias, which you were cognitively ignoring.
How?
With Jimmy G, he's 22-8. But what you don't see there is the number that's hidden, the number in parentheses.
What's hidden?
The 15 games that he has missed.
Okay.
Marcellus, he could have played 45 games. He's missed 15. I don't need the full screen. My point is very
simple. That's in the top layer. That's in 27-29.
Marcellus,
you play with other quarterbacks, let's see what happens.
Unless you are going to acknowledge the fact that Jimmy G also gets hurt, and there's a 33% chance that Jimmy G is going to miss a game, unless you acknowledge that, I don't want to hear about his record in a limited sample.
You didn't hear my first take, which was greatest abilities, availability, agreeing with you? Yes. But then I factor that into Kyle Shanahan's record. Kyle Shanahan, you're the coach of no matter who plays that quarterback. And if you're such an offensive mind and guru and genius, how come you can't win anything with anybody else?
Because you know this better than the fans, so let's not sit up here and lie to him on television.
Listen.
If you were preparing with Jimmy G as your starter and Jimmy G gets hurt in the middle of a game, that is more of a detriment than not having Jimmy G at all. I was the backup, so I know this.
Stop that.
You were the starter, so you do not. So let me speak on what I know. So you speak in your lane, I'm going to speak in my lane. If I'm the backup and I get 3 reps in practice compared to the starter that gets the 9, because you know how that works. The starter gets the 9, the backup gets the 3.
Right.
Then when it comes to the game and you go down and I got to go in and take your place, I am less well-equipped because I did not get the burn.
Your Honor, I understand that, and Greg, back me up on this. Jimmy G was in Foxborough when Kyle Shanahan was getting his butt handed to him 1-10 as a starter.
He had C.J. Beathard that year and Brian Hoyer. C.J. Beathard was a rookie quarterback.
Hold on. all the quarterbacks, I named 3 of them. No matter who is at quarterback outside of Jimmy GQ, he has not won as a head coach. So where's all this confidence that move on from Jimmy G, who saved this franchise, and now let's just bank all on the coach?
Let me tell you where the confidence comes from.
It comes from this.
No, I don't need the help. But Greg, you can come back in.
Yeah, you do.
Kyle Shanahan turned Matt Schaub into a Pro Bowler when he was the offensive coordinator at Houston Texans.
Was he a head coach?
He turned Robert Griffin into a Pro Bowler. He made Matt Ryan an NFL MVP. The confidence is very simple. Matt Schaub says, Kyle Shanahan says, give me somebody competent and I can do something with
Was he a head coach with all those names? Was he a head coach then? Oh, different role? Well, then
what the competency does is it elevates everyone else around you. And when you look at Jimmy G, and I'm not at all suggesting that he is not a good quarterback, Marcellus.
Oh.
He is a good quarterback. He is just too inconsistent when you talk about building around him. I'm sorry. He is not elevating anyone around him. When you look at that offense, forget the defense. Forget the defense. And this is the side of the ball that I played on. You tell me one player that he makes better on that offense. When Nick Mullins entered into that game, you saw a quarterback that was seeing the field even better. Now, I'm not even suggesting that Nick Mullins is the way that they should go. I do not believe that. But you see a quarterback that understands what is in front of him defensively, pre-snap, already being decisive. And when you deal with Jimmy Garoppolo, there's a lot of indecision, especially when he's being pressured. There's a lot of things that he retracts or he takes away from his ability to rise above when you get into his face and he's uncomfortable. And when I see great quarterbacks, their greatness comes out where there is discomfort, where everyone else is uncomfortable.
That's a bar.
I become comfortable.
That's a bar.
That ain't no damn
He got
bar.
you against the
It
ropes,
sounds like
Sam.
you at the bar and you done had too many. Look, George Kittle, you want one name? George Kittle. Who was he? A 5th rounder. Now who is he?
Stop that.
Maybe the best
Now,
tight
that's
end.
blasphemous.
Maybe the best tight end in football. 5th rounders are usually the best tight end in football. Hold on. Jimmy G walked to a situation. They were 1-10. He said, as soon as I start from beginning to end, guess what we'll be? In the Super Bowl with a 10-point lead with the number 2 defense that lets me down. I give you a parallel of Tom Brady, his first year as a full-time starter. What did he do? He won the Super Bowl. But what were his numbers? 18-12, not exactly blowing your mind up. Not exactly a guy that made someone else on that team better, but they won it all. Jimmy G falls short, the narrative changes, and it sounds like everyone's mind is blown and not looking at this situation correctly. Jimmy G is the quarterback of the future. Tom Brady grew into a GOAT status despite being carried more so by his team and surrounding parts. Jimmy G, in 1 year starting, was in the Super Bowl, and y'all don't want to give him any more going forward?
I'm done with this man, Greg.
Oh, that's it? Okay, got y'all quiet there.
He's in his 7th season.
Coming up, if you missed any NFL this weekend, we're here to give you a full recap. We'll give you our Week 8 winners and losers next. Marcellus and Acho. Welcome back to Speak for Yourself. Look at us standing up. Ta-da! It's time for our Week 8 winners and losers, but a quick reminder, I'm not saying anyone or anything is an actual loser, but for 1 week only, they certainly look that way. All right, Acho, give us your losers from Week 8 first.
My dog, my 3rd biggest loser, it has to start in New York with Joe Judge. And I feel bad for the man because he's lost his last 3 games by combined 6 points. Less than a touchdown, he's lost 3 games by Marcellus. Joe Judge might be a great coach. The problem is, we're not going to find out this year. My 2nd biggest loser, Matt Nagy. Now, look, Matt, I told you a couple months ago, you shouldn't have benched Mitch Trubisky prematurely. You benched Mitch Trubisky when he was 3-1 as a starter. Yeah. I understood. You won the game when you put Nick Foles in. But the problem is, Marcellus, when you bench Mitch Trubisky early, now people are crying for you to bring Mitch Trubisky back in. Matt Nagy, you my 2nd biggest loser. And my 1st biggest loser, I feel bad for this man. I feel bad for him.
What you got?
Justin Herbert.
Oh, what's wrong with him?
Ball in, 15 touchdowns, 1,500 yards, first 6 starts. But the Chargers got nothing to show for it, big bro. They've blown a 16-point lead in their last 4 games. So Justin Herbert is doing things we've never seen done before. But somehow, some way, as great as young Hollywood is playing, they still losing. He's my biggest loser on the
league. My losers are more of a loser than yours. But Justin Herbert, no I in team, but there is a me. Let's start with Jared Goff. Stay in L.A. Man, you can't be losing to Tua. You You got to show them that I'm a #1 overall pick, and you weren't, homie. And if I am Jared Goff, I go out there and throw it 61 times. Come on. You can't win a game against a rookie in his first game ever. Can't be losing like that. My #2 loser is, oh, my God, Baker Mayfield. You remember he said, I think it's just completely insensitive about OBJ's injury?
I remember that.
Well, you know what? I think it's completely insensitive to point out you only had 122 yards, big dog. That this year, despite them building all around you, you still are regressing, and the offense is too. But my #1 loser this week?
Who that?
Oh, it's my man Cam Newton. Oh, it ain't my fault. Did I do that? Cam Newton's like, did I slide here? Like, what the? Did y'all give me this? Look at Cam Newton out here, big dog. By himself, only one in there, doing all he can to get this team to win. And Tom Brady dipped on him for obvious reasons. You know he writing or DMing Tom. Hey, Tom, I know why you left now. He's doing everything he can, and it's still not enough. It ain't my fault.
Did I do that?
Yeah, he did that.
Can we talk about the people that did that, though? Can we talk about the winners?
Okay.
You know, enough with the losers. Let's talk about the winners on the weekend. My third biggest winner. Let me start with my third. It's Mike Tomlin. Mike Tomlin, he is the only coach that's still undefeated. But more importantly, shout out to Mike Tomlin, the winningest black head coach in the NFL, surpassing Tony Dungy. I mean, he is. He is black. I'm just talking about a fact. It's a fact, okay? It's not an excuse. Like Bill Belichick out here making. Mike Tomlin, my third biggest winner. Now, how about my second biggest winner? Y'all talk to me. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. Here's why, Marcellus.
What's up?
As a younger brother, I know the art of starting a fight and not getting in trouble. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, he started that fight, poked at Anthony Miller, but guess what? Williams came in there. He ate him. He ate him all in the face. He ate that two-piece with no biscuit, and he got away with it.
Should have stomped him.
So he's my second biggest winner.
Oh, sorry.
My first biggest winner, it needs no introduction.
Who that?
Y'all just take a listen. Giants fans, on behalf of everyone intelligent everywhere, I apologize for your 2-14 record this season. Why am I the #1 biggest winner on the weekend? Because, Marcellus, 77 days ago, August 18th, I told New York Giants fans, I said, I love y'all, and I'm going to tell y'all the future. Y'all are going to go 2-14. They said, Acho, take a lap. They told me to take a lap, Marcellus. I said, I'm telling you the truth. Well, several months later, they're 1-7, on pace to be carry the 2. What is that? 2-14.
Okay.
So I'm the biggest winner because I'm something like Nostradamus, something like Miss Cleo. But don't call me now.
I love that, but you couldn't play in Pittsburgh because in Pittsburgh they have no egos. But Acho obviously has one putting himself on the damn board. All right, let's start with my #3 winner, and Minkah Fitzpatrick. Adios, Miami. Hola, winning. He left Miami when they were kind of suspect. They were sorry. They were trying to find out who they were. But now Minkah Fitzpatrick not only on a team with great defenders, but being the leader of that great defense. Oh, Minkah Fitzpatrick, you find yourself in some good company. My #2 winner, oh, Kyler Murray. You know, out in the desert, it's not a mirage. Look at Kyler Murray. Look at the Arizona Cardinals. Oh, it's for real. They out there balling for real. People are sleeping on them.
Good.
Looking at the top layer, but undefeated in the division. Beat San Fran, beat Seattle. Whoa. It's not a mirage. But my #1 winner is not myself, even though I look good in this suit. It's DK Metcalf. Baby Braun out there balling. You heard LeBron James call him Baby Braun.
Y'all are built the same. You and DK, y'all.
Really?
I mean,
except his is here, mine's here. What you talking about? But hey, be careful of this new nickname, Baby Braun, because it's gonna start to age you, brother. You're gonna start looking. You're gonna get Pete Carroll fired. You're gonna be switching teams. I don't know. DK Metcalf, be yourself. Don't be Baby Braun out there balling. Oh, that was fun, man. Let's do it again next week, but that's it for winners and losers. Coming up in our big story, Aaron Rodgers is coming off a loss to the sorry Vikings. I need a towel. I'm sweating. We'll tell you if his Packers are contenders or pretenders next. Acho with the ego. You're about to speak for yourself. No lies told right there, Marcellus Wiley. Emmanuel Acho destroying Swag Wars today. Let's head to Green Bay for our big story. Packers started the season with 4 straight wins, but they've now lost 2 out of 3, including Sunday to the struggling Vikings. They gave up 4 touchdowns to Dalvin Cook, but on the positive side, Aaron Rodgers is still having an MVP-worthy season, and Green Bay is 5-2 with a road game against the 49ers Thursday on Fox. Former Packer Greg Jennings is back with us, but Acho, are the Packers contenders or pretenders?
Marcellus, I toiled over this question for so long because I love Aaron Rodgers, but where I landed was that they are pretenders. And it hurt my heart to say it because Aaron Rodgers is phenomenal, Aaron Jones is phenomenal. I love those two. I like their head coach. But the problem is very simple. The Packers need too much help on defense.
Yeah.
The last 6 losses the Packers have suffered in the playoffs have come to teams they lost to in the regular season.
Okay.
Why do I say that they are pretenders? Not because they're not good. Not because they might not go 12-4. They might go 13-3. They might go 11-5. I think the Packers are good. But the issue at hand is, are they contenders contending for a Super Bowl? To contend for a Super Bowl, you will likely have to beat the Buccaneers. I look at the Packers' history. Last year, they lost to the 49ers in the regular season, blown out by the 49ers again in the playoffs. They made no changes after they lost in the regular season to the playoffs. You saw what happened. History repeating itself. Albert Einstein, insanity, doing the same thing over and over, expecting a different result. The Packers, blown out by the Buccaneers earlier on, just 2 or 3 weeks ago. They've made no changes. Packers needed help at the trade deadline. They said, we Gucci. Our roster's fine. You make no changes. What happens when you see the Buccaneers again? I think the Packers are very good offensively, but defensively, too many gaps, too many voids, too many holes. How do you let Dalvin Cook become the first player since the merger to score 4 touchdowns on 4 straight possessions? As good as Aaron Rodgers is, he had 3 touchdowns last week, 110 passer rating, but he only had 2 possessions in the first half because their defense could not get off the field. I think the Packers, for that reason, as much as it pains me to say, they pretenders.
I think that they are contenders. I will put a little qualifier there.
Please.
And it is on the defensive side, but let's focus in on why they are contenders in the first place. And it's because of Aaron, and Adams. Call AAA, big dog, if you need some help, because, boy, those offensive weapons between Aaron Rodgers, Aaron Jones, and Davante Adams are special together. Now, this is a team that hasn't lost back-to-back games under Matt LaFleur, so don't expect them to go out there and lose the next game. And then you have to play the San Francisco 49ers, which takes us to a general conversation of, if you're a contender, who are you contending against? Interesting. All right, we know that the 49ers are all beat up at quarterback, tight end, running back, et cetera, to the point where they may not be contenders. Let's talk about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Some interesting games against the Giants and the Bears. You win a close one, you lose a close one. Also a loss to the Saints in week 1. That we're going to let that go. But, you got smoked there. The Raiders, you beat them, and you beat the Packers. So if you look at this situation, you have to look up at the Buccaneers. What about the Saints? Close wins. Last 4 wins by, 15 points. Lost to the Raiders and to the Green Bay Packers. So wait a minute. We beat the Saints, who beat the Tampa Bay Bucs, but the Bucs beat us. And that's how the carousel goes around. But as long as you're on the carousel, guess what you are, Acho? A contender, not a pretender with the other top NFC teams. So that by just the default of no one else looks like they're clear and cut above them, I have to say that there are contenders.
Yeah, I'm with you, Marcellus. I'm going to say that they are contenders.
Yeah.
However, Acho, your point is valid. It's extremely valid. And to your point with you saying that they're not contenders because of their defense, they understand, and I even understand, that if their defense continues to play like this, it will be the reason why they don't accomplish what they've set out to do. However, offensively, Marcellus, you hit the nail on the head. It's all about Aaron Rodgers, Aaron Jones, and Davante Adams. And what we didn't see is Aaron Jones out there on Sunday. And when you play great offense, you can cover up the wounds of your defense. The one thing that we look at out west with the Seattle Seahawks, we talk about how terrible and horrific their defense is. Well, the great equalizer is turnovers, and they get the ball back to that offense that is so great, even though they give up points. The Green Bay Packers have not been able to do that with the takeaway, giveaway advantage. They are plus in that area, but Aaron Rodgers needs more opportunities. And in this game, I know we love to fall in love with defense wins championships. Well, I got a surprising statement to make. Points win championships. That means offenses win championships. And if you can put up points in this league, you can have a chance. You will always have a chance.
Gentlemen, over the course of the pandemic, I had to buy a bike. because weight rooms are closed. So, Greg, I went out there and I bought me a bike. I don't have the same fitness goals as you do on your Instagram, obviously.
No one
but
does.
I have some fitness goals of my own. And while I was buying my bike, I was a new rider, hadn't ridden in about 10 years, dozen years or so. I fell off my bike, cut my arm open.
Damn.
I went to my house, Marcellus, and all I had was a small itty-bitty Band-Aid. And I tried to cover up the gaping wound on my arm. And I realized the Band-Aid can't cover up the wound on my arm because the wound is too large. Greg, I go to your point. A great offense can't necessarily cover up the wounds of the defense if the wound is too large, sir. Because the Dallas Cowboys, they had a great offense. But the wound of that defense, whoo, that one was too much to cover up. Packers have a great offense. Yes, they do. But against the Vikings, the wounds of that defense, too much to cover up. Let me tell you some things in life that are automatic. Death, taxes, and getting into the red zone against the Packers defense. Because in the Packers, their defense, last in the red zone scoring defense. 28th in the red zone touchdown defense. If you get into the red zone against these Packers, it's automatic, baby. You putting 6 on the board and likely 7. I'm riding with y'all on Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers, I love Aaron Rodgers. I think he's a top 3 quarterback in the NFL. The problem is the best way to limit Aaron Rodgers is to keep him on the bench. Greg Jennings, you know this better than me. You know this better than Marcellus. If I were to tell you, bro, Aaron Rodgers went 27 for 40, 300 yards, 110 passer rating, 3 touchdowns and no interceptions, you would just say this, hey, how much they win by? Like, that's all you would say.
Correct.
How much the Packers win by? To which I would retort, they actually lost 28-22 to the Vikings, one of the worst teams in football. You'd be like, how? And I'd simply, again, submit, it's the defense. So I ride with you and Marcellus on how great the offense is. But I think we have to be cautious of turning a blind eye because last point for me is this. When you get to the playoffs, bro, it's simple. You're going to have to face the Bears, a team with a good defense, or the Buccaneers, a team with a good defense, or the Seahawks, a team with a crazy good offense as good as yours. You're going to have to face the Rams, a team with the hot and streaky defense. You're going to have to place teams that really got competency on both sides of the ball. Packers, incredibly competent offensively, but will they be contenders? I think, to me, it hinges upon that defense.
Like that, but don't ride with us. Sounds like you can't ride at all. I'm falling off the damn bike. All these entertainment stories. Boy, you're having a rough time in L.A. so far. Wash the Bentley, clean it up, dust it off, and just stay in your car, okay? I don't want you to come up here compromised and hurt all the time. Let's talk about Aaron Rodgers and the Packers because you can get into all the details you want about, well, no Aaron Jones. Oh, well, the defense has let him down. But in playoff football, you just have to lose to somebody. And think about playoff football. Who are they going to lose to? Think about this, all right? Went through the Tampa Bay Bucs and the Saints, how they're all on that same carousel. We beat them, but they beat them, so we beat them. Oh, whatever. Exhausting. Seattle. Are you scared of Seattle, really? They haven't beat anybody, and they split against the teams that are above 500. So they lose to an Arizona team that's above 500, but then you lose to a Miami team that's barely above 500, which is 4-3. You beat them. So, I don't know about it. The Cardinals, are they really ready for this level? You know how you have to take your lumps once it comes to playoff football. Are they going to ascend to that level where they could beat the Green Bay Packers in playoff football? Kyler Murray versus Aaron Rodgers? I don't know. They beaten Seattle? Yeah, they beaten San Francisco, the big dogs, but they also lost to Detroit and Carolina. So I'm not sold on the Cardinals. Only thing I'm sold on, really, is this offense outpacing their defense. And this is a sad narrative that I love to clarify and demystify about Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers, I think there is a narrative that he doesn't perform of standard when it comes to the playoffs. But he's 11-8 in the playoffs. And those 8 losses, you know his defense gave up in points allowed? An average 36 points in those 8 losses. And that includes 51, 45, 44, 37 twice. Excuse me, Dougie Fresh. Aaron Rodgers is never going to win a game if your defense already has the scoreboard lit up with 37-plus points. So they need to shore up the defense. That is 20th in scoring and 30th in takeaways. Shore it up. But I still have them as contenders because I don't see anyone scarier than them.
I got a story for you, Acho. When I was a kid, I used to have this dog that was in this fence, and it could jump the fence, actually, and I was fast. So I was aware of the dog. I wasn't really scared of the dog, but I didn't want the dog to catch me because I didn't know what the dog would do. So I was fast enough, and I ran from the dog. You feel me? So every day I knew this was a potential that I could be chased by this dog. I was very aware that the dog could possibly catch me if I slowed down. I never slowed down.
Dog.
Why do I say this?
Say it.
Because if the Packers offense just do what they do and averaging 37 points in their wins and never slow down, they don't get caught by the dog of the defense that can potentially bite them and cause harm to them.
Well, I don't know. It would be 37-37 based on the numbers I just said and the numbers you just said because the defense is giving up 36. It's going to be a tight game when you talk about these two teams going at it. It's going to be fun to watch the carousel go around to see the contenders and separate from the pretenders. Coming up, the Eagles are in first place, but Carson Wentz still struggling, Acho.
Is he?
We'll tell you if he can get the job done in Philly or fall off his bike. Next, speak for yourself.
Welcome back to Speak for Yourself. The Eagles have won back-to-back games. Yeah, Marcellus, back-to-back like the Drake track games. But it hasn't been easy. Carson Wentz, he increased his league lead with 4 more turnovers against the Cowboys, leading to more speculation if he'll be replaced by rookie Jalen Hurts. Doug Peterson said Monday he did not think about making a switch, and he even gave Wentz a vote of confidence. I'll take a listen.
Yeah, listen, Carson's our starter, and got a lot of trust and faith in him that he can get the job done, and by no means was I in a position to make a decision or make a move. Listen, it's just something that we've got to continue to coach. We got to continue to get better. He understands he has to get better in that area.
On Election Day, I appreciate Doug Peterson giving Carson Wentz a vote of confidence.
Yeah, that political answer you mean.
Everybody needs to get their votes
The hell you talking
right now. So, Marcellus, let me know. Can Carson Wentz get the job done for these Eagles?
Just hell no. Woo! We starting at the bottom. Now we here. Another trick. Starting from the bottom where Carson Wentz is playing right now. I know why he gave this vote of confidence.
Why's that?
Because he's stuck. You ever been in a relationship just stuck? Like that day, you're like, all right, it's over emotionally. It's over mentally, but I'm still here physically. I'm stuck. You know why the Eagles are stuck with Carson Wentz? Because of his dead cap. And that's how he's playing to them. Carson Wentz is dead to them, but they're stuck with him because he's going to make $77 million in dead cap if you get rid of him this year. What about next year? Still stuck with him. $59 million in dead cap. Goodness, when does he get to a place where it's actually advantageous for us to get rid of him? It comes in 2022. Basically, Carson Wentz, you got 2 years of sucking it up and coach giving fake political statements like he did as a vote of confidence. And you know why I know he wasn't telling the truth? And he doesn't really believe in Carson Wentz? Because look at the 2 choice words he used in describing Carson Wentz. Trust and faith. Oh, really? I got to believe in things I don't see. Faith. Faith in the unseen. The things that are not existing, but I have faith. I don't see it in his performance. I don't see it in his play, but I believe it's going to happen because I have trust and faith. 2017 is not returning, brother. He's a losing quarterback outside of that year that he didn't win the MVP. So I don't know where you have confidence. He didn't say that. He said trust and faith. He's believing in things he can't even see. Poor Carson Wentz and poor Eagles to be stuck with this guy.
No, Marcellus, poor listeners that have to listen and tolerate you only giving one partial biased take. Marcellus, over the course of these last several months, I have to be cautious of what I intake on television because some networks will only give you one vantage point.
I know where you're going with that.
And you, sir, are that network. And what I do, I change the channel. Because all you ever tell me is about the negatives of Carson Wentz, the turnovers, the turnovers. Can I tell you about the positives, bro? Carson Wentz, he's 8th in the NFL in touchdowns. 8th in the NFL in touchdowns. Touchdowns. Marcellus, Carson Wentz has more touchdowns in Big Ben, than Lamar Jackson, than Deshaun Watson, than Drew Brees. Carson Wentz has 10 more touchdowns than the next best NFC East quarterback. And just 2 days ago, yesterday actually, we were debating, is Carson Wentz even the best quarterback currently in the NFC? Nonsense. But when you listen to stations like Marcellus Wiley, you'll hear that kind of nonsense. I encourage you listeners, make sure you filter it out. Carson Wentz, sir, second half since week 5. Can we talk about the flight path? This is the last positivity
the flight path?
I'm going to give you. Carson Wentz since week 5.
Let's see.
He's first in the NFL.
What is that?
Oh, that's a different one. We can go there too, though.
Carson must be running this.
I got full screens.
Carson is doing this.
No. This is Darius. Okay, let's talk about this fight
Just
path.
like Carson plays all over the place. Keep going.
Are you done or are you finished?
I'm just trying to hijack your point.
Carson Wentz, first in the NFL passing touchdowns since week 5, second half. He's first in the NFL passing plus rushing. He's second in passing yards and rushing yards, and his team is third in points per game in the second half since week 5. You can tell me all the negatives if you want. Just understand, there are two sides to every coin, and I'm looking at the other side.
What did I just see? Did you say since week 5 after halftime? Was that full screen?
That was. I don't know what's funny.
Oh, that's like me and my wife. We don't get into any arguments on Thursdays after 8 o'clock. Like, what the hell are you doing?
That's what they tell you. They say don't argue after at midnight. Isn't that what they tell married couples?
Every relationship is perfect if you just take, after Thursdays at 8 p.m. What was that? That was the most cut up. I'm trying to make him look great. How about what the things that he's bad at, since you want to have balance in life, perspective? I actually flick between both channels. Yeah, I do, because I want to have balanced perspective. I don't just focus in on one, highlight one. I have perspective. I wonder who is 30th in passer rating. Can we get a full? Oh, we don't need a full screen. We just know who we're talking about. That guy, Carson Wentz. Who's 31st in completion percentage? Who's 29th in passing yards and attempt? Who has the most giveaways? For every touchdown he throws an interception or fumbles the ball away. So you take a step forward and you take probably 2 steps backwards when you're talking about Carson Wentz. Not even the best quarterback in his division. You know, the best quarterback in his division has his leg propped up on a chair right now, and his name is Dak Prescott. I don't understand. You want me to talk about the positives of Carson Wentz? They should be as expected. He is a number 2 overall pick. He already got an extension. He makes the 3rd most cash in the NFL. And we're sitting there saying 30th, 31st, when you are number 2 overall and number 3 in money. Make it make sense.
I'm going to make it make sense
for you. Make it make wins.
You make and you have the same air in your thought process that so many of us have in our society. Oh, I'm going to go global and then I'm come down.
You're coming to me like this?
Here's the issue, Marcellus. You look at an individual and you disregard the issues around them and you expect them to succeed at all costs. You look at each individual the same, although there are different circumstances that the individual has to succeed under. Where am I going with this?
I know where you're going.
Carson Wentz has been asked to do the most with the least. At a minimum, Carson Wentz has been given the least of any NFL quarterback. The first full screen they showed, now we can bring it back. Darius Slay, star cornerback. He's talking about Travis Fulgham, the same Travis Fulgham that started the year on practice squad. Darius Slay says, I love it. This was my scout dude in Detroit. Travis Fulgham, he leads the NFL in receiving yards since week 4. Was Darius Slay's scout team receiver just last year. A scout team receiver, Marcellus.
Yeah.
Darius Slay's scout team receiver is currently leading the NFL in receiving yards since week 4. Acho, don't cut it up, Acho. He started the season on practice squad. That's why I'm saying since week 4. Because he didn't start the season.
You ain't good enough.
No. He was sitting behind guys that are higher paid. You know this.
Yeah.
Guys that get paid, they get jobs now.
Yeah.
So you start the season on practice squad, and Carson Wentz has turned this dude into a stud, into a bona fide star. Very simply, Marcellus, if you're going to talk to me about all the negatives that Carson Wentz currently has, all the flaws Carson Wentz has, look at his surroundings. Don't just look at Wentz. Don't just point to the fact that Wentz hasn't succeeded. Can we talk about the environment he has to succeed in?
Oh, really? Systemic draftism? What you talking about? What the hell? He suffered from that? The hell? I want to hear about your conditions.
What's wrong with this man, America?
I want to hear about your conditions. Ain't nobody up here from worse conditions than me. I seen it. I know the road ahead. You better get your butt up and go get something.
He is.
Okay, but
he is.
But you keep complaining about what's around him. But my issues with him are not what's around him. I do give him a pass in that respect. But I keep going to this. No matter who's around you, decision-making and accuracy is not dependent on who's around you. Be real. When we saw him take that sack last week, when he went to the left and he said, I'm going to throw it. No, I'm not. Yeah, I am. Well, maybe he held the ball for 6 seconds. I don't care who's out there. If you don't make a decision, either throw him the football or throw the football away. But take a sack, forced fumble in that moment is not based on your conditions, brother. It's based on who you are in those conditions. Don't be a product of your environment. Produce for your environment.
Here's the problem, Sel. Sometimes high-pressure situations make you make bad decisions. Let me take you back.
So the pressure's getting to him. Say it, Acho.
It's a high-pressure situation.
You didn't answer my question. Yes or no, or is the pressure getting to him?
Pressure gets to anybody, yes.
No, it doesn't.
Yes, it does.
No, it does not.
Marcellus, let me talk about this for a second.
Tom Brady.
Carson Wentz is in a predicament where he knows everything is on him. Everything is on him. I just gave you his receivers. I gave you the fact that a practice squad receiver is currently the highest receiver with reception yards since week 4. When you're in tough situations, Sel, you make bad decisions.
All the time?
Sometimes, Marcellus, my sophomore year. I've told you this before.
Where we at?
I haven't told you this story, but
high
I
school
don't
or
drink.
college?
College.
Okay.
Your boy don't drink, but I'm at a house party. I'm at the University of Texas. We had a house party, and it's some stuff going on. I'm not partaking in, but I'm there. All of a sudden, I hear like, whoop, whoop. Hear a knock on the door. I'm on the 2nd floor.
Is the sound of the police?
The cop showed up. I'm like, uh-oh, I'm a University of Texas football player. What do? I jump out the 2nd floor window.
My dog.
I jump out. Now, I wasn't doing nothing wrong. But it was a high-pressure situation. So I made an idiotic decision. And I jump out the 2nd floor window, land on a trash can, fall off the trash can, and now I'm hobbling down the street when I should have just walked by the cops. Hey, bruh, yeah, they up there doing some stuff. I don't know what they into. I'm over here sober as can be. Go check on them cats. Carson Wentz, Marcellus, he's in a high-pressure situation.
Really?
When you're in a high-pressure situation, sometimes you do some things that you ain't got to do. Sometimes you try to make plays you ain't got to make, Sel. You should know this.
A little bit of that guilt jumped out that window with you, too. I don't know about that story right there. It's a hole or two I could poke at, but I want to keep our jobs and come back in here tomorrow. You sure you were perfect? You sure you were angelic in that?
Straight up.
Really?
Straight up? Straight up.
Why didn't you?
I wouldn't lie to y'all, America.
Damn, I wish I knew you then. I would have stayed in there. Hey, they got to arrest me if I ain't did nothing wrong and I'm having fun, too. They got to arrest me. All I'm saying about Carson Wentz is he went to that same party you did.
What'd he do?
He brought a cup, but he didn't chip in. Like, everybody looking at you, hey, dog, what's in your cup? Nothing. Oh, really? But you want something. Carson Wentz, he wants all the money. He got all the money. He wants the opportunity. You're number 2 overall pick. You're a franchise quarterback. And now you're going to complain? Ain't no more drink here. Should have jumped out the window with you. Innocent.
You got away.
Sure
I got away. I ain't doing nothing wrong.
Okay. Coming up, I'm a dig for that story. Brady's Bucs are thriving while Belichick's Patriots are doing the complete opposite. We'll tell you if this means Brady had a bigger impact on the Patriots dynasty next. I ain't buying that story. Speak for yourself. Tom Brady's Bucs held on last night for the 3rd straight win. They're currently 6-2. While Bill Belichick and the Patriots are going in the opposite direction at 2-5 with a 4-game losing streak. Brady and Belichick won a record 6 Super Bowls together, but former NFL head coach Rex Ryan had his own thoughts, saying their current status shows, quote, that the greatest player in the game has a hell of a lot bigger impact than the greatest coach in the game. Shots fired. Greg is back with us, but Acho, are the Patriots' struggles proof Brady had a bigger impact on their success than Belichick?
Absolutely, but the operative word there, gentlemen, is bigger impact. Marcellus, the driver is always going to have a bigger impact than the manufacturer. Again, you talk about your Teslas, you brag about them, so I can come on here and tell the audience something that's not like they don't already know. Marcellus, Greg, if you didn't know, he got 3 Teslas. He got one for just about every day of the week. And so the thing about it, Marcellus, is the manufacturer can create the car, whether it uses gas, electricity, who knows, air conditioning, center console. It's all amazing. But it doesn't matter what the manufacturer does if the driver doesn't know how to operate the vehicle. Bill Belichick, incredible manufacturer, the Patriot way, incredible defense, incredible special teams. But what we've now realized is the driver always plays a more important role or a bigger role than the manufacturer. The Patriots are still the same team. Just about that Tom Brady had last year. What's the difference? They have a different driver in Cam Newton than Tom Brady. Tom Brady driving the Patriots is really the reason the Patriots were so successful. It's not an indictment on how great Bill Belichick is. Bill Belichick is great. Let me say that again for those that are lacking hearing. Bill Belichick is great. However, Bill Belichick's greatness, it can be and it has been completely undermined by not having the right quarterback in the right position. So Bill Belichick had an impact, a huge impact. But if you're going to make me choose and I have to look at that operative word bigger, it's clearly, abundantly clear, Tom Brady had a bigger impact.
I disagree with that. I don't see any proof of that right now. 20 years was enough proof.
No proof?
Yeah, I can't use a 7-8 game sample size to negate 20 years of experience that shows what that impact looked like together. But my grandmother warned me about these kind of people, Rex Ryan and others, when she talked about snakes in the grass, you know. This take from Rex Ryan felt so slimy. It came off to me as jealousy a little bit more than that. Not even premeditated, but more deviously calculated. We all know that Rex Ryan is the guy who talks it walks it, puts it on his sleeve. Used to guarantee a Super Bowl every single year. Remember those days? I also remember him being a coach in the same division with Bill Belichick. And I also remember Bill Belichick getting the best of Rex Ryan. And Rex Ryan only there with the Buffalo Bills for 2 years before getting fired in his second year. So when you now want to see Tom Brady move on, and in half a season want to say he's the reason why they had such success for 20 years, it's just a head-scratcher. Look, it's a dynasty. All good things come to an end. But to now try to have the indictment of one over the other with such a short sample size, it seems like you're taking a shot for a different reason rather than just using this 8-week sample size as your pure evidence.
Yeah, no. Tom Brady is not proof of having a bigger impact. He's just not. When you think about, and I like your analogy, Acho, the only problem that I have with your analogy is the car, the actual vehicle, can't take care of itself. It can't do its part without the driver doing everything for it. You understand what I'm saying? So there really is, it's a kind of a one-way relationship. The driver has to maintain the vehicle. The vehicle is just there. Once it's there, it's there. So it's more of a relationship-based thing. And in marriage, you're not married, Acho, but Marcellus, you is. Yeah. You know, there's moments where you feel like you do more than your wife. You wish your wife did more.
Marcellus did tell me that just yesterday.
I'm supporting this. I'm taking care of all the business. But the reality is you can't do and be who you are without the other part. Yes. And so my point is their success was on the productivity of both Tom Brady and what he brought and the value that he possessed and Bill Belichick. One of the beauty about being married is understanding your lane. There are so many things that my wife does great, but I may not have a strength in those areas and in that lane. And if I try to operate in that lane, you know what happens? I might crash the car. I might run into some things because that's not really my lane. But if I stay in my lane and humble myself and say, you know what, babe, you are great in that area. That's what Bill Belichick and Tom Brady did. Tom Brady handled his lane. Bill Belichick handled his lane. And they both collectively were able to experience great success because of it.
They did and experienced great success. And for the sake of exiting out of this couples therapy session, which we've now moved into, let's get back to debating these sports. Yo, let's keep it real. Man. I don't get how y'all don't see that without Tom Brady, Bill Belichick, not really successful. With Tom Brady, Bill Belichick, incredibly successful. Before Brady's first start and after he left, Bill Belichick, 43-62. 40% winning percentage. During those 19 years of Tom Brady, 232-70. 77% winning percentage. He has 8 more losses with Tom Brady in about 250 more games. I don't get how y'all don't see this. Think about this. The Patriots have a top rushing defense this year. The Patriots have a reasonably decent top 10 adjacent scoring defense this year. The Patriots on special teams are still very good. All the pieces for the Patriots are the same as they've been in years past. Greg Jennings. What is the difference? The quarterback is different. The quarterback has changed. Under Tom Brady, Patriots were only outside the top 10 in scoring differential once in Tom's last 15 years. Right now, they're 22nd. I don't believe in coincidences, gentlemen. I do not believe in them. You all are saying that all of the success that Belichick had under Tom Brady and the fact that it is now gone, like a thief in the night. The fact that it is now gone as soon as Tom Brady left, y'all are essentially implying that that's a coincidence and that Tom Brady is not the direct contribution to all of that.
No, I'm not implying that at all. I think you're building your argument off a false premise. I think that it's a logical fallacy and a false equivalence.
Stop using big words, Marcellus.
Here's a we just lost a big player, but you act like that the Patriots only lost Tom Brady. I told you this yesterday, that of the 53-man roster that they were just in the Super Bowl winning with, and 21 months ago, they only have 12 of those same players on this roster now. There's been a huge transition of players. But like most of you millennials, you only get caught up in the headlines. Tom Brady left, and that's it. Everybody left.
21 months is a long time. You had hair 21 months ago.
Hell no, I didn't. Don't try to go to those lazy jokes now.
Okay.
Hold on.
21 months is a long time.
You try to use, let's go back to what you said.
Go back.
Tom Brady leaves and they have no success, so Tom Brady's the reason. He's the indicator. Hold on, but he didn't leave by himself. This is why you never compare an individual against a team and organization, because there are multiple things to consider, and you didn't want to consider
Then let's consider this. Can we consider this?
Did you consider it?
Yes, because, Marcellus, things changed from 2001 to 2 to 3 to 4 to 5 to... Things changed every year for the
Brady
Patriots.
left with a wake of others.
But things changed every
that.
year, and they still won. I'm not disagreeing with you that things didn't change. I'm with you, bruh. Things changed. But the 07 Patriots roster, vastly different than the 2016 Patriots roster. Both teams just happened to be in the Super Bowl.
Right.
What was the constant? Tom Brady.
The constant was Tom Brady was expected to be there this year, which we already discussed in the earlier block. Tom Brady leaves. Others have left. Others have opted out.
Greg,
we have salary cap issues. All of that is a part of the
settled it.
I just don't understand why you don't understand. More than Tom Brady left the Patriots. Can we understand that?
I'm gonna bring you back to my marriage counseling couch. Okay.
Yeah, he needs to get in there and get married. Get out these streets.
So let me explain this to you how this works. So if you're married, like Marcellus and I, we have kids. Okay, so this family is run according to what I say, what my wife say, and it's run pretty smoothly. We've had success with the two of us. Okay, something happens, we divorce, she gets remarried. My kids now have a stepdad, and they have now a new stepmom with their dad. It may not run the same way. They may not respond the same way. Why? Because we're not together. It has absolutely nothing to do with just the fact that one person is gone. It has everything to do with that the two individuals that were together are no longer together. Period.
I like that. He doesn't know about that yet. He doesn't know what love looks like.
I don't know
He knows what a hell of like looks like.
I don't know about divorce right now. I'm not even married. How could I be divorced if I'm not even married?
You ain't even in
I don't know, Marcellus.
Yes.
Let me tell y'all the fatal error that you all are both making. Marcellus, I agree with you. The roster has turned over the last 21 months. I'm not disputing that. But I also acknowledge that the Patriots' first Super Bowl with Tom Brady 01, that roster was completely different than their last Super Bowl with Tom Brady in 18. That roster completely turned over 99% outside of Tom Brady. What was the constant? Success and Tom Brady. So I can't sit here and say, well, the roster changed, so the Patriots aren't good just because Tom Brady left, because so many other people left. Everybody left prior, and they were still good. The constant factor there is Tom Brady. I don't get how you don't see that
because you don't understand the nuance of what you're just saying. You're going too absolute. Let's get into this. When you're in a relationship, as we're talking about Tom Brady and Bill Belichick, you together are greater than the sum of your parts. That's the magic that they created. Without it, we don't know who's going to win the Super Bowl this year.
Exactly.
We keep anointing that Tampa Bay will win. What if they're one and done? They can win 10 games, 12 games, get in the playoffs and lose. Then what we going to say about this? 20 years was enough evidence, but Acho and Rex Ryan likes week-to-week evidence to try to sway. To me, it makes no sense.
Marcellus and Greg, if the Buccaneers were sitting at 4-4, 3-4 right now, I'd be like, you know what, gentlemen? I am still on your side. Here's why it matters, and here's why I care. You took a Bucs team that was 7-9, and now they are the favorites or a top 2 team to win the Super Bowl. At a minimum, they're a favorite to be in the Super Bowl. What's the addition? The Buccaneers were average. You added Tom Brady, the Buccaneers are great. The Patriots were great. You deducted Tom Brady, the Patriots are average to below average. The only moving piece, not the only, the primary moving piece is Tom Brady. How can we ignorantly say you added Tom Brady to the Bucs, they were great, you deducted Tom Brady, they're bad?
You would be right. You would be right if the Patriots had won the Super Bowl every single year, or at least appeared in the Super Bowl every single year. But since they didn't, you don't want to factor that into what a dynasty looks like. Half the times, more than half the time, they didn't even make the Super Bowl. But you don't want to consider that because you're not in love, because you don't know about anything bigger than you, Acho.
They went to 9
stop it, big dog. Fall in love, and then we can have this discussion going forward. Coming up, Mike Tomlin says his Steelers do not fear Lamar Jackson. We'll tell you if Tomlin's words are something or nothing. Nothing. Next. Speak for yourself. Stay out the streets.
Welcome back to Speak for Yourself.
Yeah.
Lamar Jackson had a rough day in Sunday's loss to the Steelers. He had the ball with 2 minutes left and a chance to win. but he fumbled in the red zone. One of his 4 turnovers on the game. Then on the Ravens' next possession, Lamar threw an incompletion in the end zone on the final play of the game. After the game, Steelers head coach Mike Tomlin had his own thoughts about the reigning MVP. Take a listen.
You know, we got respect for him, but we don't fear him. And so, you know, we're not surprised by anything that transpires.
Ooh, spicy. So, Marcellus, are these comments something or nothing?
Man, ain't nothing, but boy, he did put some hot sauce on that. He put a lot of hot sauce on nothing. I don't know if that's spicy or not, but damn, Mike Tomlin. But he says everything like that, matter of fact. That's why I think this is nothing, because what's the list of guys that Mike Tomlin does fear? I don't think anyone exists. The same coach, maybe the best coach in the game right now, based on present times. Looking at Mike Tomlin with the cross on his gold chain. Does that guy look like he fears anybody? So I don't even believe in that he's going to fear someone. I don't think there's someone contrary to that. That said, I got to attack something right now because I see it's brewing. I see it's growing. Another Lamar narrative. Oh, the first one. Oh, he can't even play the position of quarterback. Then it was, oh, he can't even throw. Then it was, oh, he can't sustain this style. He's going to get injured. Only missed one game ever. And then it's get to the point where now he can't win big games. And that's where this fear is coming from. Nobody fears Lamar. He can't win a big game. Full screen time. Oh, yes, he can. Look at Lamar's big wins. Depends on what y'all call big, because to me, this is big. He went and beat up a team that ends up winning 11 games. The Seattle Seahawks went up there. Remember that game? That was a close game? No, not that close. All right. What about the New England Patriots? Oh, the boogeyman was out there. Got him. Look at this. Houston Texans. Oh, good record. Rams, 9-7. We'll be in the playoffs this year with the new format, but last year they weren't, but they still were a winning team. San Francisco 49ers, Buffalo Bills. Are you kidding me? Lamar Jackson beat all of these good teams. Oh, Lamar Jackson won all of these big games. So for a coach who doesn't fear anyone, I think this was nothing. I don't think this was a big deal.
Sel, you up here fighting air, bro, because you throwing punches. You throwing punches at people that ain't fighting you back. I have no argument against Lamar's big wins. That's not my tactics, not my approach. Okay, I do think it's something, though, big bro. And I'm kind of like you, but I'm right on the other side of the fence. I'm looking at you like, Marcellus, you think there's something? And you're like, I don't know. Here's why it's something. Why? Because Mike Tomlin is tactical. Mike Tomlin, he's not going to go out there and say, man, Lamar Jackson is sorry. But he might as well have. See, what I heard when I heard that was like, we don't fear him. Now, I don't know the question, but in all honesty, Mike Tomlin, like, you ain't have to say it with such your chest. Put your chest away. Put your pecs away, big dog. We don't need to see all that. Yeah. Like, he really said that. Yeah, he did. Like, hey, we don't fear him. Chill out, bro. You won the game. It's something to me because I think what he's really saying, if you read between the lines, is like, everybody else got to worry about the MVP. The MVP ain't nothing to me. And what do I mean by that? You showed me your full screen about everybody else Lamar played against. Let's talk about in Lamar's 2 games against the Steelers. Still, struggle. Against the rest of the NFL, Lamar Jackson is 23-4. I hear that. But against the Steelers, he's 1-1. Now, that's not a big deal until you look at his completion percentage. Way down against the Steelers. But look at his turnovers. 27 games against everybody else, 15 turnovers. In 2 games against the Steelers, he has basically 50% of that. The reason I make something out of this, Marcellus, big bro, is very simple. Mike Tomlin is like, hey, this dude that y'all worship, this dude on the cover of Madden, this dude that makes all defensive coordinators stay up at night, he ain't nothing to me. He's not Superman. He's Clark Kent when he comes over here.
Hey, you better chill out with all that because, look, Mike Tomlin says it's ABC's gangsters. Hey, C. I said C. Everything he comes out of his mouth is gangsters. So I don't even know if it was really an attack at Lamar. I will say this. Lamar is their kryptonite. 4 turnovers, including the pick 6 in the first possession. And another turnover inside the 10-yard line. Another short field turnover. And you still got to have a nail-biter against a team that had 4 turnovers, outgained you by 235 yards, rushing attack 265 yards. Oh, yeah, call them what you want. Fear, respect, love them, like them, whatever it is. Lamar Jackson. That fly just almost hit you. That Lamar Jackson got that boy's number. Coming up, Uncle Jimmy joins us with a very interesting comparison for the GOAT, Tom Brady. That's next. Speak for yourself. Tomlin shook. Before we go, Uncle Jimmy joins us. So, here you have a very unique comparison for Tom Brady. Take it away.
Hey, man, what the hell is going on with Tom Brady? How in the hell do you go from being a pussycat New England to becoming a Tiger King in Tampa. Right? I mean, you've been TB12 for 20 years.
Oh, wow.
Now you go to Tampa for 20 minutes and think you the new Tommy the Exotic. That's the real reason that he moved to Tampa, for the wildlife. He knew that they had a tatted leopard in the form of Mike Evans. Then they also told him that they was going to reunite him with that great white lion in the form of Rob Gronkowski. You know, Rob raised him, that Tom Brady raised him since he was a baby. But then Bruce Arians done approved this dude to get another exotic cat.
Don't do it.
In the form of Antonio Brown.
Oh, I don't want to see that.
Now, I don't know if y'all know this or not, but this cat been in trouble everywhere he been. He done tried to attack a driver. He done tried to attack the owner. Hey, man, Tom Brady better watch him. Hey, who in the hell would turn a lock hydra loose in a house with a gazelle?
Hey, I'm a cat guy, too.